Welcome, everyone. Okay, it looks like we are live, so welcome, everyone.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Talking after the show, The Flash, Season 1, Episode 13, The Nuclear Man.
Sweet, you nailed that one.
I can read.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's awesome. All right, we have Ari, we have Devin, and myself, Chris. So let's just dive right into it. Ari, we got the Firestorm origin episode.
Yes.
We've been dying. We've been like sneak peeks here and there. Firestorm saved Barry's life when he battled Reverse Flash for the first time. A huge payoff. What did you think of the episode?
I think that just from what little I've heard from the two of you post-episode, that it was a lot more for regular people who know a lot about the Flash because of Easter eggs and other things about the origin story than it was for people like me. I spent some time rolling my eyes about this, and I don't know if it's, you know, the CW-ness of having just kind of...
It's been mentioned before. It's not new. I mean, it's there. It's like, boom. Yes.
So I enjoyed the episode, but not nearly as much as most of the others that I've seen.
Right.
Again, I think that it's, putting some things in place.
Yeah.
So I can appreciate that.
Right.
But as far as my on notice proclamations from last week.
On notice.
Yes.
So who was on notice last week?
On notice last week. Well, Iris is like perpetually on notice with me. Sorry,
Iris West. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm chalking that up to whoever's writing her.
Right.
Writing her dialogue. But Cisco was on notice with me last week for making some dumb decisions that we all knew were dumb.
Right.
But the thing I like about Cisco is that he learns from his mistakes. And so he is off notice this week because in spite of his whatever perceived naivete we might have about him, in spite of his feelings, he did the smart thing and went ahead and ran the blood test results.
Right.
Even after he said he wouldn't, because he realized it was probably an important piece of information regardless of his feelings about what the results might be.
Right.
So I was like, okay, you are off notice now.
Who's off notice? So who's on notice?
Iris remains on notice.
Iris remains on notice? Okay.
Yes.
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know about all that.
Man.
I know. Shocker.
Right. So.
Iris kind of showed a little bit more of awareness than she has in the last, 12 episodes.
Yeah.
Kind of has been like, okay, Barry obviously is in love with me, and I'm going to sabotage him any way I can. I mean,
I would be, you know what, I might be on board with that if she showed any, awareness, if we're going to use that word, about actually doing it. She did it in a very passive way. A very, oops, did I say that kind of a way.
Right.
Passive in our way, but not very passive at all, and just I don't want to say this right now because I don't want to be in trouble with anyone right now.
It's okay.
But,
right.
Not very passive in a other way. I would say it's not even close to passive. It was very passive aggressive maybe, but not very passive. No.
So she trying to sabotage. Barry's chances with Linda, right? Mm-hmm. That's why she's on notice.
Well, no, for doing that, but not owning it.
Not up to it. I didn't know what I was doing.
Oops, was that me?
I just said you're pining after some woman. I don't know who that woman is. Is that what's? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I thought. It's a CW, so in the back lot when they make this episode. They're playing the Twilight movie series constantly.
That's what he kept telling me.
It's constant Twilight in the background. That's how they're inspired by Twilight movies back there. Yeah.
They know who's watching CW.
Right. I mean, it was.
Twilight.
Oh, am I ripped? I'm sorry.
Yeah. I've got a whole.
I got these annoyingly awesome medical bracelets on my ripped chest. Let me just peel those off.
Yes, I realized it was Dr. Stein, but it was really, Ronnie that we were seeing, even though Dr. Stein is in his body or whatever. And I turned to
eyes
Chris.
Up here, right?
I know. I turned to Chris and told him how happy I was that Star Labs is equipped with a waxing salon.
Yeah.
Actually cleaned up so fast. He was just like, "Oh, well, you know what?
Oh, you have a shower and a barber?
What's up?
Oh, great.
Hey, look, take a little up the top right here, just a little bit.
No, he was fresh as a day.
Frame my face a little bit, make me look a little bit more. I don't know, a little something. I mean, Martin Stein, he's like a 60-year-old dude. I mean, he has no sense of style or function or fashion. Yeah. I love how somehow he knows just what works and what looks well, and the TV audience is great. I love he just knows it.
Right.
And so I kept thinking, it's very convenient for everyone who works there because, they can get all their, realizing now they can get all their grooming needs taken care of while they're at work.
Well, yeah, and plus, Martin's wife likes stripes, so maybe he's let's shave the stripes into the chest, have it whacked out all up. I don't know. Yeah. We can go on for a while on that.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, so it was.
That was quite the transformation, I must say.
Well, it was a really bad. It was like a really bad movie where where they just put a wig on someone, some glasses, and they're and they just transform them automatically. Oh, underneath, I thought you were a nerd all this time, but we just took you to the salon, and they were so beautiful.
It was his Pretty Women moment.
Right,
yeah.
Right, exactly. So.
Oh God!
It's not like we didn't see that.
Movies that kind of follow that same idea.
Yeah. We just had to buckle in and just I'm sure other people appreciated it. Yeah.
Right.
Not in this place.
Dr. Snow could hold open the little necklace box and slap it shut in front of him. Pretty woman. Okay, sorry.
All right, this is the silverware. This is where I put it. Okay. This one's a salad. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Devin, boom. Firestorm origin. Let us know how did this origin retelling compare to the comics? What did you think of it?
I mean, obviously, like I think I said last week or week before, I don't remember exactly, but there's a bit of pathos added to this whole idea of it. There's a bit more of a thing there, because it had to be somewhere, obviously. So I mean, Martin Stein was a physicist working at this Hudson River Valley, whatever, nuclear power plant thing back during the whole, 1,000-mile island or whatever that whole thing happened back in the day.
Right.
Basically, it's a very relevant issue back then. I don't know about now, but back then it was very relevant. And Ronnie was a random jock who kind of just made things explode and cause issues. Right. So, boom, they fused and created this whole thing. And it was much purer, much cleaner back then. There wasn't this whole weird old man and young man's body thing going on. There wasn't this whole, crazy, just...
It's just
no waxing salon either.
No waxing, none at all. No waxing. No, it was very clean in general. I mean, no one really had beards back then. They were all just kind of hanging out, just beards are not about what we're about at all. Beards, not at all. No, they were about beards, but it was much cleaner. Right. Now it's a lot murkier. Obviously, hey, he's a old man in a young man's body. It's kind of creepy, but kind of enticing and weird at the same time.
Right.
And he played it up really well in the episode. The old wine I can't mention, don't care to mention really.
Mm-hmm.
The old wine, he's like, I could really use a Dawn Power home. Some home.
Yeah, I mean that was just
playing it up, playing it up.
Yeah, my line to that was do you want to go back on the streets? I don't.
Because we can make that happen.
There are no wax shavers on the streets. Professional ones. I'm not really sure.
But yeah, I mean it's a nice kind of look at it, I guess. It's different.
Yeah.
It's more 2015.
Yeah.
It makes more sense, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, Firestorm debuted in the late 1970s.
Yeah, I think early 80s, yeah.
Well, yeah, late 1970s, early 80s, yes, for sure. But yeah, he debuted in that period of time where things weren't so murky as far as people looking at things. You got economics going on. All these different things going on that just made life a little interesting. The Waltons, for example. I mean, that was a big show back then. It was very clean cut, very clear cut. But now it's a whole different environment, and it just kind of seems like you got to kind of adapt it with the times.
Right. Well, like, I mean, the CGI in the 80s was a rubber mask, right? Now it's like kind of rubber suit. Right? I mean,
it was 8-bit CGI.
It's 8-bit CGI. I mean, it was just like it was Pong whenever they went special graphics. Right. I think
waka, waka, waka.
I think Firestorm's gonna be attacked by Pong battle right now, so that's gonna be great. But yeah, but it was a more wholesome Pong game back then. Yeah. So, but yeah.
Tron style going on there. Tron, right? Tron was amazing.
Dude, that was Tron. Do you know how much minutes of CGI were in Tron? I have no idea, but it was like the most. It was the most CGI in one movie at a time. So that was crazy.
You see the lights and the LEDs and all that. Lights like that.
Yeah, and that was produced. Disney made it, and in fact, they didn't know what to do with that movie because it was a hot product, a hot movie, and it was like they never had a hit movie like that. Like that was, they didn't know what to do with it. So, but anyway, I digress. So anyway, Firestorm. I thought it was cool at the end. They hinted at the costume design with device at the end, so that was kind of the payoff for me as a fan. It was like, oh, hey, we're cool, we have that thing. So, but yeah, leading up to it was kind of, yeah, that was. I thought it was. I think he has a cool costume, but no doubt. I mean, it's asymmetrical. It's really snazzy. You know, a lot of fire. You know, what you got to do with that. But yeah, so I don't know. You mentioned is there Easter eggs in the show that you catch Easter eggs more than I do because I have no idea.
I mean, there's a few little ones like the whole Wade Street thing going on. With, you know, there's something in Wade Street. I can't remember exactly where or when, but I mean Mark Wade, big Flash writer, huge Flash writer. Really, he was like the seminal one during the '90s, straight up, no doubt. But also, when Ronnie / Martin looking in the mirror early on, you kind of see the symbols of the Firestorm kind of thing do this thing in the mirror, and the fractures and the shatters in the mirror. Kind of cool little visual, little hint, I guess, on the nose, but still a good hint.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. Also, I want to mention that Firestorm is very similar in design to Nova. You ever heard of Nova before?
Yeah, but Nova's kind of late addition, right?
He was actually before Firestorm.
Oh, really?
A little bit before Firestorm. 76 was Nova. Okay. He is my favorite Marvel hero.
Oh, no. Okay. See, I know nothing about Marvel, really. Like, I know.
Oh! Okay, yeah. So I'm okay. This is a brief little thing here.
Okay.
But Nova and Firestorm were both very much like new, earnest superheroes who created kind of the cash in on the whole Peter Parker, Spider-Man dichotomy thing going on there.
Okay.
You had young, Ronnie Raymond, jock dude, team with a built-in mentor almost with Martin Stein, and you had Nova, who was kind of the Nova Corps Green Lantern type thing, but also a very novice, rookie hero.
Okay.
So they both had this whole thing going on, and it was on the same time exactly, actually, before the whole DC implosion, which I'm sure you guys are aware of, right?
Explosion?
The DC implosion. It was basically where they designed a whole bunch of comic books to go, like, new comic books come out, basically at a time, like New 52 kind of, and then Warner Brothers said no, and they canceled all of them. Like, a bunch got axed, and then they kind of like divided the whole line like in half. And
how long ago was this?
When was this?
1970s, like late 1970s, probably early 80s.
Okay, I don't know.
Okay, they're going too far in this whole thing. But anyway, Nova, Firestorm, really cool. Both kind of appeal to me. Both in the same pointed shoulder vest thing going on. The symbols on the chest, very obvious. I mean, very streamlined look below. Again, I mean, it was just very similar in looks. I wish you could compare them, but I'm not going to right now.
Okay.
But anyway, continue.
No, that was good. Yeah. Any other Easter eggs? I mean, or anything like? I do want to bring back the we kind of resolved or moved the Firestorm plot, I guess, because the main plot was the nuclear man, right? And then the subplot is Flash's foster father is investigating Wells, which is a smart move, based out of the previous episode with Pied Piper, crashing the house. They all looked at Wells' house and said, like, wow, this is really kind of weird that no one's there. So so kudos to him. That was like probably the smartest part of the episode, was that he was actually progressing and actually looking at Wells as the reverse Yellow Flash. Like no one actually says it out loud, but just like, he's investigating Wells because he thinks he's the reverse Flash or Man in Yellow. Like that's like boom. That's like the main thing. That's the understated thing. So, and he finds the spoiler, like finds 2 blood samples, which is probably the only thing that made sense in the whole, like, going back to the house after 30 years, was they found blood samples.
Well, no, I mean, I liked that because it corroborated everything that Barry had said. I mean, like, there are people that believed Barry,
right?
But they actually got to see it for themselves for the first time.
Right. Okay.
So they actually got to see the picture or projection or whatever of the reverse Flash there. So.
Well, also, like, what kind of upset me, though, is that they have 2 blood samples, and it depends on the blood type, but they found a separate blood sample. They know that Barry was there, so they could just play off he was a kid, blah, 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 he was there. But they have another person's blood sample, so there's enough doubt that Barry's dad could not, could have been his wife's killer. So they could actually release him right now, or make a case to the judge.
That's enough information.
So,
but because if he does, then Reverse Flash knows he's onto him.
Yeah, it's true.
The whole thing is undercover. It's very like. He's not trying to make him aware he is doing this still because he threatened Iris.
Right,
He knows Iris is done. And we all know the comic book, really. We all know how to turn. I mean, do we all know the comic book, really? Do we all know?
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah.
We don't all know, do we?
Yeah, we don't know.
Oh my God.
Okay, though, but I do agree about tipping his hand, because he would absolutely be tipping his hand if he did that right now.
Yeah, so this is the first time the police are actually just being smart, I feel. They're not blundering their way through the investigation, or not being like
thunderously. Well, too often shows like this kind of rely on cops being dumb or whatever, so I appreciate that they're not falling into that trap.
That one cop isn't dumb, or that 2 cops aren't dumb, but like really the rest of them, they're all kind of just clueless. They're idiots. I mean, you got Dawn, Eddie, who's just like an ace cop in general. He just knows what he's doing. Then you got Joe, who has an inside idea about what's going on. So like. They're turning emotions in the whole thing, but like Sting, he's just clueless. Really. And the rest of them, they're just like, "Oh, Flash, saved my life. Oh, he's so great. We love everyone. Oh, he's so awesome." Like, I mean.
Yes. Yeah. So, but like Eddie currently is on the anti-Flash task force, right? Like he still is on that. Like he did not like get moved. He's on the right.
He's not.
Where'd that
go?
No. Like he got the orders from his boss to go be on the anti-Flash thing. Or was that?
Yeah, but didn't. Yeah, something happened.
Lost plot device with a friend.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Maybe something happened.
He's
like,
not as vehement.
He's not vehement. But he was like totally missing from this episode, right? Which he, probably should be like, hey, my partner is solving a 30-year-old crime right now. Like, what's going on? And then another thing I didn't like was that Cisco just like. There was no, I might have missed it, but there was like no rationale of like why Cisco was not at the stakeout for Firestorm. There's like, I just assumed that Wells and Caitlin were hanging out in a van all night watching for Firestorm to show up, and I was like, there's got to be some cover where like Cisco says, investigating a 30-year-old murder. Like, oops, no, I'm hanging out with my best friend, a cop. Oops, no, I am. It's just So, it's something that could be easily played off with a line or two. But I feel like it's kind of blaring like errors.
And they're just like, oh, they won't let us.
Like if some girl like eats a hot pepper in front of me if I was dating someone, I was like, can you eat 2 red hot peppers? Because that'd be awesome. Just like if you want to go out with me, that'd be great.
Don't touch your eyes.
Yeah.
touch your eyes, dude. What are you doing? You like that? You don't. Oh, like you're the worst. I mean,
so basically, in case everyone's listening, it was like Barry like not really messed up the dating, right? But he tried to resolve the issue between that happened because of Iris.
He just didn't like do a good job of handling the fact that he needed to leave for an emergency.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. He could have just said like I'm on call.
He just should have done the preamble before any kind of date and said I'm on call.
Yeah, I'm on call, so I'm gonna eat and drink lots of beers or something. I don't know, but no, he doesn't say that.
It's very like it's just I'm sorry, it's very very like he's just not a smooth Don Juan type of guy. He's not playing thing ahead of time. Right. He's not Wally West, if we're gonna be frank.
Right.
Wally was like a ladies' man, especially early on. Like he knew how to handle women in a way that was good for him, but not good for them. But Barry is, especially at this point in Barry's life, he's much more compassionate. He's trying his best to like not lie, but he knows he has to lie. So it's just this whole thing going on.
Right. Well, I mean, he doesn't have to say, like, I mean, being on call, I think, is very honest, right?
Yeah.
His friends will probably need him at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so season 2, I hope he gets a better ladies man. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's got to be up there. That's my goal, at least. Writers are on notice.
What is Barry?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. Barry Allen he's a smart cookie. He is intelligent as all get out.
Right. I mean, like, yeah. I guess
he's not had a date in how long? He's not practiced on like the subtle lies that guys tell to get out of things on dates. I'm sorry, what's that guy?
Okay, so we can say how many times I'm there with you, but we get to say, okay, maybe he gets to play the socially inept card maybe 3 times, and we're down 1.
Count. Got 1 socially inept card.
So if I eat a ghost pepper,
the flash card for this actually literally a flash card, a flash.
It's like put it on forehead.
That's right.
Just like.
Hold on.
He's got one. Look at him.
We're working on it.
Devin is ready
at
all times.
But yeah, I see your point completely. It's definitely getting to a point where it's half realistic to someone who kind of gets things like that. But I don't know. Mm-hmm. When you're that kind of person, you don't really get things like that. It comes a lot slower. Right. I'm not saying by experience, but I'm just saying by like just things. You don't always catch these things as soon as you.
All right, exactly. Okay.
We're expecting more. Sorry.
It's working. This is a very hard package to open up. I don't understand why.
Well, yeah. I just want to I wasn't really thrilled with the episode, but I felt like it was kind of a backdoor. It's not like a backdoor pilot they did for Flash, but this is kind of low key backdoor for Firestorm, in a way. And so they actually had Glenn Winter, who directed Flash vs. Arrow, and Going Rogue, which introduced Captain Cold. He also worked on Smallville and Arrow, so I thought the directing was okay. I thought it was good. Got some new directions. I mean, the house where Martin Stein was and something that was pretty good. I felt the directing was okay. I think the writing just suffered, and it was Andrew Kreisberg and Catherine Walzak. And Catherine, this is her first Flash episode, and she's actually a comic book writer. She actually came up through the ranks, if I may say so, just through on Arrow. And so she actually wrote the digital comic book for the Arrow, and so she got some chops in there. But I felt like the writing just wasn't solid there. I mean, I liked the ideas. I just felt like they weren't really tied together, and that red pepper thing at the end.
I mean, I appreciate the sentiment behind it. Like, maybe we could think of a different way, but just in general, seeing Linda also makes you realize that they can write a woman who actually has boundaries and will stick up for herself and is smart and that sort of a thing. So
yeah,
that was refreshing.
Yeah, I just don't think you make a big scene at her workplace is a good thing, especially if you
again, but okay, he's a socially inept, awkward fellow, and you know what? Here's your one.
Do we get one card per episode, or is it one card per thing?
It's a playing card, but it still works the same way.
Okay, fair enough.
You get one. Everyone gets one, Barry.
I mean, so we just have to be on alert, guys. Whenever there's a Twilight-like episode approaching or season, we have to realize that
shuffle the cards.
The deck is stacked against us, if you will.
Yes.
So anyway, there you go.
Ooh, hey. Yeah.
There you go. So.
I mean, that was impressive, by the way. Props on that one. Where Barry is coming from, I see his socially awkwardness. I see his impulsiveness also.
Right.
Due to maybe his abilities, maybe jumping in there and influencing his. Think he does, because it's a very impulsive thing to do. It's like a Bart Allen type. If I'm gonna be throwing little things in there, impulse, Bart Allen, Kid Flash 2, the Flash 4 kind of, but not really.
Right.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, so I can see where they're trying to throw different elements of the Flashes in there and make him kind of seem like he's not altogether, in control of this new ability he has.
Right.
I mean, it's subtle. Maybe I'm reaching.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm reaching. I apologize. But
it's like you're only 15, man.
Okay, what haven't we covered? We should talk about what haven't we covered?
I think it's about. I mean, if there's anything else,
I'm looking at the notes to make sure we haven't.
Well, I mean, there's also just the Easter egg from early on with Jason Rush, who was also part of the Firestorm Matrix, which is mentioned this episode and. A big detail. I mean, the Firestorm Matrix is this big, transmutative nuclear fusion thing that exists to basically make this being into, two beings into one.
Right.
It's not only been just Ronnie Raymond and Martin Stein. It's been Mikhail and Jason Rush. It's been a number of different random parts of this whole whatever. Right. And throughout 40 years of history. So it's kind of awesome to see them start from the very beginning, but then also plant seeds for the future, because them there. I mean, Jason Rush being mentioned even a little bit was kind of cool. Just be like, Jason, what?
Yeah.
From man? I mean, if later on they recast him, it'd be a little unfortunate, because it's gonna happen probably. I mean, it's realistic. But I mean, still, I mean, it's cool to kind of see it come to pass, which is awesome.
Right.
And then also, I want to mention that, and another cool way that this whole kind of combined together is that Flash, at a series back in the '80s, had Firestorm as a backup series.
Okay.
For about, I don't know, 81, 82 or so, whatever. The Flash and Firestorm shared a comic book of their own. The Flash has his own story going on, and Firestorm was also there, an 8-page backup story.
Right.
And also kind of, I think at least one point they kind of crossed over. I can't remember exactly if this is correct, but they definitely did at some point. Which is kind of cool. Another way of, this is the first real superhero we've seen kind of spin off from the Flash, and it's Firestorm, a backup hero who was in there, 30 something years ago. Yeah. Good Lord. It's amazing. People see that.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff Johns is creative, chief creative officer at DC Comics, so he knows the history very well. So and I think he's just putting the pieces in place, everything like that. So yeah, I feel I think if you know the history, just as great Devin's covering it. Just if you know the history, you just know that there's so much coming down the pipe of future episodes that's going to come. In fact, there's I think episode 18 is named All-Star. I forget what it's called, All-Star or something. But basically, it's, you're just All-Star heroes. I'm like, oh man, totally forgot. But basically, it's gonna be Flash and at least one other, maybe two other people, superheroes joining forces.
Oh,
yeah. But yeah.
Okay. Mention one thing. real quick, the Brave and the Bold, Batman the Brave and the Bold, like the cartoon series from back in about like 3 years ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Just incorporating all those different characters and history together, it was amazing. And oh my god, like Batman's my favorite. Batman's okay, but when it comes down to like making everyone count, that series did it, and it was good.
Right.
The Metal Man, really? We saw the Metal Man, man. The Metal Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and then the guy, the kind of the bodyguard guy, the CIA guy from Arrow, Mr. Diggle, is that him? Is that his name? Yeah. Yeah. So he was actually at a convention near us. We didn't go, but a friend of ours did. She got a photo taken with him, and he was wearing the Green Lantern ring. Yes. And so that could be. Someone mentioned that is that foreshadowing? So. So yeah.
Oh my gosh! Only because people have been manipulating that whole thing for a while now. Actually, Diggle as a Green Lantern.
Yeah.
So it's funny looking at it online. I was like, wait a minute, really?
Yeah.
He's wearing this me thing, or just him doing his thing? Who knows?
It's probably him doing his thing, but yeah, I thought that'd be pretty interesting. So that'd be kind of cool. Okay. Yeah. So I think that's about it. I mean, unless there's something else we can I can say hot pepper again. I guess.
Yeah. Couple more things.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
I have some action figures that I would love to share with you guys.
Okay.
As per usual, I collect everything from the DC universe, basically as far as DC Direct goes, which is a straight from DC comic,
right?
To the provider consumer type line,
right?
And evolved into DC Collectibles, which is kind of the same basic thing, but doing a little bit more, being a little more active, I guess, in the community.
Right. Okay.
In any case, the first up is F.I.R.E.S.T.O.R.M, Ronnie Raymond, Martin Stein. Actually, I'm gonna do me a little favor here and turn this lights off a little bit, make it a little easier to see. What we're talking about here.
Okay.
That is Ronnie Raymond, Martin Stein from JLA Volume 2 from DC Direct series, I think 2004 circa. It could be a little off, but about 04. And then next, we have the Jason Rush version of Fire, which I mentioned earlier. Early on, he was just Jason. He kind of got the Firestorm Matrix on his own, and then Martin Stein came into the whole mix later on, and then different people kind of shared a mix with him over time. But overall, Firestorm, circa Infinite Crisis, which is a big DC series back in like 06, I believe, maybe.
Yeah.
About 06, yeah. Okay. And then one more I want to show off. This is from the Brightest Day series, which introduced Ronnie back into like the mainstream, because Ronnie actually was killed by the Shadow Thief, using Knight's sword back in, I don't know, a little bit before Infinite Crisis, but yeah, he died. He exploded and the whole thing. So this is actually Ronnie plus Jason.
Yeah. And
this is post the whole Deathstorm. If you guys read the whole Black Lantern saga thing.
Yeah, dude, that was pretty awesome. That's probably the best one.
Deathstorm came back and tormented Jason and killed his girlfriend and horrible things. And then he came back to life and they reformed. And then the memories from Ronnie was Deathstorm were still there, and there was a whole big dichotomy thing going on, but it was kind of cool. So yeah.
So was that in Blackest Night, or was that in the Brightest Day series?
It was Brightest Day after the whole Blackest Night thing went on, yeah.
Yeah, I thought Brightest Day kind of like dragged, but then towards the end it really had a good payoff at the end.
It did, but it kind of dragged a little too much for most people. Kind of just stopped reading it.
Yeah.
I mean,
which is kind of funny because it's a weekly. It was a weekly, and people got tired.
Yeah. I mean.
Millennials issue, like, no, you know what? It was kind of boring.
Millennials, my man, we don't have attention spans like that.
Yeah.
You mess up, we done. We just an opposite later on. Right. Maybe we'll catch up. Maybe.
We were talking before the show that there are groups like fans dedicated to Firestorm.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
Match heads. They're called match heads.
Match heads. Okay.
Yes, there's an awesome guy named Shag Matthews who runs the Firestorm Fan I believe it is, and it is a amazing resource. It has everything you need about Firestorm. Period. Like he covers every single era of Firestorm.
Okay.
Al Milgram and Gary Conway days to just way beyond that. It's amazing. Okay. So check them out. Firestormfan.com.
Maybe if Firestorm is new to you, then maybe you should check out those. It was firestormfan.com.
Right.
And then, yeah.
And they're called match heads. So.
Yes, and I guess you're a match head. Guess what? If you like Firestorm and are just discovering that now, there's a tribe for you.
Yeah, we should ask them to be on the show. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing because they're so cool. And they also do a podcast of their own, actually. The Fire and Water podcast, which is, I think it's located at, fireandwaterpodcast.com, but I could be obviously mistaken. So just look it up on Google. It'll help you out a lot.
Google is your friend. Fire and Water podcast.
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, cool. Anywhere else we can find more about Firestorm?
Wikipedia. Shag is the man. Like Shag, just knows his stuff. Everything is covered. Like if you want to know a little bit, like tiny details here and there, Shag has them. I mean, that's a guy.
Nice.
But that's really cool. Just to, kind of cool. And then also want to mention one more thing.
Okay, no problem. Yeah.
It's cool to see the Barry Allen kind of alternate, older version show up in the whole thing because we talk about the whole reverse flash thing going on there, that kind of thing. I don't know. But in a slight reference, not really that big, but slight, I'm wearing a Walter West Dark Flash shirt. The alternate Walter West, Wally West, who existed.
And so for people who can't see, because we have an audio podcast. It is a silver lightning bolt from his left shoulder all the way down across his chest. So it looks pretty snazzy. So it's pretty nice.
Custom made, heroesandtights.com. Awesome website too.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Awesome. I think that about wraps it up. If you want to follow more about Devin and his awesome collection, follow him on Twitter at Flash Johnson, and also online at the fastestfanalive.com. Is that right? Yes, I got it right this time. And then Ari Styles.
Yeah, I'm just on Twitter, ARI4NNE.
Okay.
Yes.
The number 4.
The number 4 because my name was taken. So.
Oh, man, I want to get like a sound effect of just like this violin. Just
pretty much.
Because someone took Ariane.
Well, I know so many other people that have the same issue, but Twitter is what it is.
Right. I know people do this, and I'm not a big fan of it, but I just they put their name and then they put the year they were born after it. That just bugs me.
Not gonna happen.
But yeah, I also want to give a shout out to our producer.
Yes.
Chris Enns. He's on Twitter at iChris. He's also at Chris Enns, ENNS.com. So he's a big fan of podcasts. So if you listen to podcasts,
he has a podcast about podcasting.
Yes, he got a podcast about podcasting. So.
I don't know how much more meta you can get.
Yeah, it's super meta.
And I love it.
Yeah. Really? You can't even look more than that. You're there.
Pretty much.
Right. So definitely check him out. I'm on Twitter at Teleject, TLEJECT.
Yeah, you forgot an E.
I forgot an E. TELEJC.
I love it.
Know how to spell your
I don't know. It's not a real word.
It's okay.
Oh, yes, because I don't like numbers or something. I don't know what the joke is. I'm not eating red pepper. I'm not sure what's going on. Okay.
Yeah.
I love you in the park.
I was like, oh, and your coworker happens to have milk. Oh, thank you so much.
Sitting there, yeah.
So much. Oh, yeah. I'm not making a scene, am I?
You don't find anywhere milk is not just readily available anymore. It's just milk. Oh, really?
It's weirder having your potential sweetheart show up and eat a hot pepper, or to know that one of your coworkers just has a stash of milk.
He is a Flash.
It could have been almond milk.
You could have planted it. Put it in real quick, popped it open, had it ready to go. did his own little good pepper thing and been like,
Devin, you can explain anything, I swear.
My brain just works that way. I'm a speedster brain since I was like a very young child. Like I haven't been in a situation where I've been like
I was feeling that sticky wash of the CW after this episode of like
too much beefcake.
Did I sit through something for a totally different demographic?
I mean,
you made me feel better, so thank you.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of stink eye you gave that TV tonight was just like through the roof, man. I don't know how the TV made it through the night.
In that demographic.
Okay, I will say one thing. My sister was watching it as well, and she mentioned that when Ronnie was sitting on like the Ronnie/Martin sitting on top of the like little thing, whatever, with the straps across his waist or whatever thing going on.
His pecs.
One of Madonna's backup dancers. Sister, come on, what are we doing, Laura?
Oh, funny. All right, I can see that.
Yeah. Well,
we live to tell.
Well, I thought he was going to have to change it to a wolf, man, because that's all I know.
Yeah, right.
Just like
Team Jacob. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were a F.I.R.E.S.T.O.R.M. Sorry.
I mean, the Twilight vibe was pretty ridiculous. Oh my God, this is funny. You guys give me the same perspective though, because like I don't watch it as a CW show. I don't know what CW shows are. I've seen Arrow and I've seen Flash. I don't watch anything else in that. Well, Supernatural. Sorry, first 2 seasons.
Well, like my guilty pleasure is the 100, so I know that's cheesy. I just know that cheesy going up the end, but the sci-fi premise is pretty sweet. I thought, whatever. But yeah, so I kind of like that. It's like Lord of the Flies in the future. I don't know. I'm not gonna justify myself to you guys.
We're all friends here. It's okay.
Is that they kind of have to like? I feel like they have like a checklist. Okay, beefcake. Oh, got that. We need a little bit of tension going on here. Oh, got that. We're good with that. Okay. Power. We need some powers somewhere between this beefcake and tension. We need powers. Got that.
We need the watered down romantic comedy.
And little rom-com action going on here.
Yeah.
Got that. Oh, we are firing on cylinders right now. All cylinders right now. Watch.
We're cooking with gas.
Yeah.
I can see it. Now I can see it. This is why it works so well, because you guys show me like the side that's like W-ish. I'm just like, here's the side that's like comic booky and kind of work for me. Balance, if you think about it though, it's a really good balance, kind of.
Yeah.
For someone who maybe knows both.
Yeah.
I
mean, as a Flash fan, I enjoy the show being on, and I hope people like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I'm glad to watch it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sorry, this is very dark now. I'm trying to apologize, guys.
No problem. Your shirt glows, man. Whatever. Pretty sweet. All right, cool. Let's just call it a wrap, man.
Sounds good.
Talking about the show. We were talking about the show, The Flash, Season 1, Episode 13. See you guys for Episode 14.
Woohoo!
And peace out. All right. And